Hello, everyone, and welcome to this inaugural episode of Raw Sound Entertainment's Top 500 Rolling Stone Albums Reviewed. So, I am Sam,
I'm Marshall.
and we will be your co-host today and for the rest of this list in reviewing the 500 albums. So, you want to give us a little bit of background on what all this means, Marshall?
So Rolling Stone, back in 2012, made a post on their site calling it the 500 greatest albums of all time. It was in their lists. If you don't know, Rolling Stone does a lot of lists on their website. And basically, the way they came up with this list of the 500 greatest is they talked to industry experts twice, I think. I think they said once in 2001 and once, I think, in 2009. They talked to industry experts, music producers, artists, different people in the music industry. And they talked to them about what are your favorite albums. They didn't necessarily say, hey, what are your list 500 albums in order from least to greatest now. But they talked to them, what do you think are some, really iconic albums? And they sorted these, they went through them, and once they came up with a list of 500, they personally went through and decided what they thought deserved to be towards the top and the bottom, still taking into account the experts' opinions. And so this list isn't like just the opinions of Rolling Stone and its editors. This is a list sort of this is a consensus of the musical community, which I think is interesting. And so that's how they made the list in the first place.
I agree, and I think this is really interesting, and I think this has never been done before on YouTube. I don't think that anybody's gone through the whole 500 and really reviewed each one. So we're going to try to do that. We're going to try to make this a series that'll go on for a really long time if we decide to go through with it all the way to the end, which I hope we do. So this is an original idea, I think, and I hope you guys will enjoy it. So should we start with our first album?
Let's start at the very beginning.
All right, number 500, Outkast is the name of the list. Aquemini, released in 1998 by La Face. Was the producer, and so tell me a little bit about it. What is it?
Well, first, I think an interesting thing to point out is I looked this up, and Aquemini, I believe a term invented by that band. I don't think it existed before the album. I might be wrong there. I might be. It means to love someone, basically for someone to have your back really strongly, basically, to sort of break it down. So
they coined a term. They created one.
Yeah. So the titular song on the track, Aquemini, it's about that. It's talking about sort of everything doesn't matter except this person that you love.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that's sort of your Aquemini is your lover, sort of. So that's basically what Aquemini means. The album itself delves into a lot of different topics, though.
Yeah, for sure. So the thing is, this album, it's by the rap duo Outkast, which are an early rap duo. They started off quite early in the rap's history. And I thought which was really interesting was in this album you hear a lot of sounds that are older, or newer, should I say, newer to the rap game. If you hear them
at this time,
yes.
Yeah.
It came out in 1998, but you hear a lot of stuff that is reminiscent of almost like Jay-Z and Kanye West from the early 2000s. Almost sounds like a lot of the songs on here sound like they fit on Kanye West's first album, College Dropout, which I thought was really, really interesting because I personally am a big fan of Kanye West, and a lot of these sounds sounded very familiar to me.
Mm-hmm. From my perspective as someone who I'm not in love with rap. I've never really gotten that hard into it, but I really like the album, and they blend in different genres into their rap. It is rap, and it's definitely rap. I'm not saying it's different genre, but
yeah.
But they embrace sort of little tastes of funk, and they put in little tastes of soul and R&B, and so they mix it all in a pot, and at the end you have some really awesome nuances on some of the tracks with other genres, and it helps the fact that they've also brought in a lot of different artists on a few of these tracks. CeeLo Green and a few other people contributed as well to this album, which I thought it's really cool. A lot of the tracks that involve other artists are some of their better ones. So obviously, collaboration is an important thing with these guys.
And the lyrics too, right? You listen to the album and you can't stop listening to the lyrics because they're very, very meaningful. They talk about the tough past that African Americans had in the South, because this duo is actually from the South, which is kind of rare when it comes to rap for rappers to come from the South, because they're either from LA or from New York historically. But Outkast are from what is it, Atlanta? Atlanta, yeah. So it was,
one of them was born in Savannah, I think, or both of them maybe, but yeah, they were.
So
the group started in Atlanta.
It's weird. It's kind of bizarre to have a group from Atlanta. Now it's not, of course. I mean, you got like 2 Chainz from Atlanta, and you've got a few other people from the South. But back then, it was really New York and LA that dominated the rap scene. So to see a group come out of the South, it obviously brought a lot of new messages and new tones to their songs.
A completely different perspective to look on a racial struggle, basically.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. So like in the other albums, you might have the struggle between the cops and the African American population, but here you have constant struggle, because racism is obviously a really big problem, and was a really big problem, and still is a very big prominent problem in the South, but across the country as well. I mean, it is a problem. So we get a lot of those vibes in the songs, especially Return of the G and Rosa Parks, of course. I mean, there's a song called Rosa Parks.
Yeah, there's literally a song called Rosa Parks, which is amazing.
You can't avoid the racial tension in that song. So
yeah, they have a lot of they have a lot of good songs. One of my favorite songs on the track, as far as not so much the sounds of the song itself. Like I'm not in love with the song itself, but the lyrics of Synthesizer are amazing, because it's sort of using using a synthesizer as a metaphor for things that are fake in our society, and how we've gone from real things, and the metaphor for a real thing would be a piano, to fake things, the metaphor being a synthesizer. You know, now everything's becoming fake, everything's becoming technological. You know, we're moving ahead. The song's talking about how we're moving ahead so fast, it's sort of like we don't have our feet on the ground anymore. Which I think is really interesting, because the album was released on the turn of the millennium almost, and that's obviously a big time for technological progress. It seems like now we really are moving without our feet touching the ground. And if you look at where we were with technology just 15 years ago, at the turn of the millennium, we were much different place to be, you know, technologically speaking. So I think that's a really interesting song.
So was that one of your favorite tracks on the album, or is that?
No, because I don't love the song itself. I just like what it represents.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
I was not a big fan either. I was not a big fan of the track either, but I did like the message behind it when you did explain it to me, because I didn't actually pick it up the first time. I guess I'm pretty slow when it comes to that kind of thing then, I guess. But it was weird. It was a weird track, because you had the talking in one ear. Did you get that? That there was like a guy talking in one ear for half the song, and you kind of were trying to listen to what he was saying, but you couldn't hear it. It was well done.
Yep. At one point that freaked me out.
Yeah, it was really weird. Yeah. So I'm gonna quickly talk about my favorite and least favorite tracks, and then I'll let you go for it.
Okay.
Too.
Yeah, sure.
So my favorite tracks were probably Return of the G, Rosa Parks, The Art of Storytelling Part 1, and Chonky Fire, which is the closing track, which I thought used an excellent range of instruments. You start off with the piano, and then you get the strings, and then more piano, and then strings, and then it ends. And it's sort of goes back and forth between these strings and piano to go from a lighter tone to then more intense and then lighter. And I thought it was really well done. Mm-hmm. How about you?
In many ways, I agree with some of your picks there. I really like Return of the G. I really like Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks, by the way, guys, was actually, I think, the popular song on this album. That was what most people's favorite.
It was the big one, yes.
I really like Skew It on the Barbie featuring Raekwon.
Yeah.
And I actually personally liked Aquemini, because Aquemini was the most funky song on the album, I think. Aquemini reminded me of I can't think of the song, but these old songs from the 70s when they would talk about like horoscopes and shit like that. It reminded me of that, because it was very funky, very sort of 70s vibe. It was sort of old school, that song. While the rest of the album I wouldn't say was old school. That one felt old school to me. I liked West Savannah because it was telling a personal story. It seemed more raw,
yes,
from the creators. I liked Liberation because CeeLo Green.
Yep.
And Chonky Fire.
Chonky Fire was
like
probably
you
number
said,
one.
the instrumentals on that track were incredible. I didn't love the lyrics, but the instrumentals made that track very good track.
And I find it funny that you said Aquemini gave you that same sort of horoscope vibe, because that's for sure what I got out of it as well. Sort of like Age of Aquarius.
Age,
song?
that's the song.
That's the one, right?
Thank
it was
you.
very similar.
Yeah,
very
this
similar.
is the dawning of the.
Exactly, right?
Like, I'm not saying it's exactly that song, but you get those sort of tones,
Yes.
and you get the imagery of the 70s, and you
Yes.
get, all of a sudden you feel like you're at Woodstock with that song. It's really
Yes.
weird. It's like, did someone put something in my drink? One thing, although I don't love the song, one interesting thing is they have two really weird tracks on this album. Hold On, Be Strong, and Nathaniel. So Hold On, Be Strong is the first track on the album. It's the intro track, if you will, and it's just a minute long. Both these songs are a minute long, and it's just this really soulful singing, and it also is reminiscent of that sort of 70s vibe, which is a really weird way to start out the album. And then Nathaniel is just talking. It's like this sort of AM radio sort of, this guy is just riffing for a minute. No singing. Really weird. So those are the two sort of kind of crazy tracks in the album. It's hard to even call them tracks because, well, okay, Hold On, Be Strong is a song, but Nathaniel isn't a song.
I wouldn't call it a song, no. It's more of like a sort of it adds, every song in this album pretty much has like an ending to it where it's like a little snippet of like a little scene. So Nathaniel,
the endings prepare you for the next song, I believe.
Yes, and Nathaniel I think is just a longer little scene, but I didn't get it. I couldn't hear what he was saying. The audio quality was pretty bad.
It wasn't recorded like the other scenes too, so it was just different.
It was different.
In general though, those are weird. Now, would you like to talk about your least favorite?
Okay,
tracks?
yeah, there were two tracks I really didn't like. The track Slump, I didn't like. I just thought it wasn't very good, honestly. I hate to say it like that because it sounds just like a sort of a cop-out statement, but I just didn't like it. It just didn't sound good to me. I didn't like the sounds. Now, I'm not going to go any further with that, but Mamacita, I didn't like because the constant vocal of Mamacita was just getting annoying. The track got annoying, which I don't like an annoying song, of course, but it just got annoying. It was the only track on the song that I got annoyed with. Slump I could get with. I could listen to it and it wasn't that annoying, but Mamacita was annoying. I got annoyed.
Yep, I agree with you on Mamacita. It was not good.
No,
I
it wasn't.
Not like it. Not only was it annoying, it seemed really off in the album. Like, well, one, I felt that like you said, a lot of the purposes of this album was to speak about racial tensions, but Mamacita was talking about, was giving me a sort of Hispanic vibe, and I was like, that came out of left field.
It's sort of, it was out of place, I think.
And out of place is the good word to use. I'm not saying it's a horrible song, but it is very out of place in the album. I didn't love The Art of Storytelling Part 2. I didn't
either. I didn't like Part 2 either.
Like I said, I want to say Nathaniel isn't one of my favorite tracks, but like I said, it doesn't count as a song. So I can't really say that's not my... So I'd say Mamacita is probably my least favorite. I didn't mind Slump. I didn't mind it.
No?
I wouldn't say Slump was one of my least favorite. Although, if I were to arrange this list in order of like best to worst, it would probably be towards the bottom just because there's so many good songs on this album. Like, there's a lot of talent on this album. A lot of talent.
It starts off strong and it goes into a slump with Slump, and then it comes back with the last song. I think that's what this album does.
Well,
and I think you agree with me, right?
Well, I'm not sure about that because like I like
West Savannah. That's true.
West Savannah comes right after Slump. I didn't hate Synthesizer, so it comes right before that. Like, I liked what Synthesizer was saying, so I wouldn't say that it necessarily goes in a slump there.
Okay, maybe after The Art of Storytelling 2, it has
I
a little bit of a
genuinely
drop.
think I think most of I would say that. I would say most because I didn't love Y'all Scared as either. That one was honestly, I can't even remember what Y'all Scared sounds like now that I think about it. That was probably one of the least memorable tracks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
the important thing to note is that there's a drop off in the album at one point. That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. Overall, though, the album was.
I thought it was good.
As far as rap album goes, I think it was very good.
I think it deserves a solid 7 out of 10 for my score.
I agree. 7 out of 10 for me as well. overall just the album had, like I said earlier, very good tones referential to other genres. It was very true to rap.
Yeah, it was
some very hardcore rap. I think the sort of riffs they had at the end of every track also, I like that. They had some interesting things to talk about. Did you hear, I forget what track it was after. It might have been after Aquemini, before Synthesizer, but the one where one of them's Frankenstein and the other's Igor.
Yeah, that was weird, eh?
That was
after Synthesizer, I think, or after Aquemini and Synthesizer.
I think it was the introduction to Synthesizer, and I think the point of it was this is building on the idea of Synthesizer that, oh God, what have we created? You know,
Yes.
what is society created? They turn the power on and they realize, oh God, you know, this is now the ghost in the machine. You know, so they introduce the songs with those sort of riffs, and they're very cool. I like that a lot.
All right, well, good album. You have anything else to add?
Good. No, that's about it. I will say, just like I said at the beginning, I'm not a huge rap fan, so you know, I think during this list, I'm probably going to become a little more diverse with my rapology.
Yeah.
But as far as rap goes, as far as what I know about rap, this album's a hit.
I thought it was a solid album for sure. So next album we're going to talk about is going to be B.B. King live in Cook County Jail. That will be in hopefully 2 days. I'm excited for it. I don't know what it's going to be like. It's a live album from jail, so we'll see how it is.
It's I believe if we were to classify a genre before we go into it, it'd be blues, solid blues. Yeah, not really a deviation from blues. So if you guys like blues, check out our video next week. Or if you just like history, if you like hearing about musical history, because we're going to be dealing with a lot of that. We're going to be going through all these albums and seeing what has made the musical world tick over the last 50 years. We're probably not going to get a lot of songs and albums from before 1950, and we're definitely not getting any albums from after 2009, I think, is the cutoff.
Yes.
2009. So.
And I forgot to say this. If you guys want to follow us along and give us your comments in YouTube or tweet hashtag greatest 500, is that what it is? 500 greatest?
500 greatest.
Hashtag 500 greatest. If you want to follow us and give us what you think, we would love to see that and even interact with you guys in the comment section. That would be great to see that you guys are following along. I forgot to say that at the beginning. I should have said that at the beginning. I will next.
Well, it does. I mean, if they've made it all this way, then they're probably interested in it.
Yeah. All right.
But the links are in the bottom, or in the description, not the bottom.
All right. So thanks for watching. We'll see you soon, I guess, and hopefully you enjoyed.